All right, so I'm going to tell a lightning tale of Icy Parks and put Glacier Bay in a global perspective from my point of view. I first arrived here as a green kiwi in 1977. Right from then, Greg facilitated, assisted, and provided some very sage advice as I went along. My last trip was in 2010 on board one of the vessels that Alan was talking about. And of course, my favorite place here in this world is in front of a tidewater glacier. Okay, so let's go here. So, icy parks, they can be categorized as being ranging from the temperate end, nice and warm, Glacier Bay, to intermediate, like Svalbard up north, and then the extreme cold of the Antarctic. So, why are glaciers important? Well, they act as one of the canaries in the coal mine with this global warming that we've imposed upon ourselves as the heat moves from the equator towards the poles. And we're concerned about what's happening with that and what glaciers can tell us. So, let's start with Glacier Bay that Alan just described. So, the glaciers end in tidewater cliffs. There's world record rates of world record weights of sedimentation, as she described. Very large upwellings of these subglacial streams with huge amounts of sediments depositing material in these large banks and fans coming out from the streams. And then farther away down fjord are these nicely, keep on hitting these things, the nicely laminated sediments that Alan was talking about as well. Right at the grounding line, oh boy. Right at the grounding line here we had an ROV and we got the grounding line of the ice sitting on the sea floor. This is mud here and that's the ice face right there. And life gets established much farther down fjord here because of all of the mud in the water. There's life on the seafloor miles away from the ice face, which is a big contrast to others. And then Alan also described the icebergs raining stones from heaven as they melt out from the ice. Svalbard, up here much farther north, is sort of intermediate in glacial characteristics. They have tidewater cliffs, but they also have some short floating tongues. And we've had some expeditions up there with showing that there's those smaller banks of moraine on the fjord floors and smaller fans as well. And then there's the weak layers of sand and mud formed by the streams coming away from the ice. And we recorded them in the cores. And then there are some stones from heaven again coming out from the icebergs. So because of the lower sedimentation rates, the seafloor life can get established within 1 to 2 miles away from the ice face. This is an image below the seafloor, by the way, collected by a Norwegian friend, showing the stream coming out, the hole in the ice face where the stream comes out, rising up to the surface. So now we go to the extreme cold, the Antarctic. I put this slide in just to give you a perspective if you're not too familiar. The Antarctic is the size, or much larger than the size of the US and Mexico combined. And it is much larger than Europe as well. It's the coldest continent, the driest continent, the highest continent, and it's got, of course, the biggest ice sheet and ice shelves. And the ice sheet, not only is it much larger than the US and Mexico, but then it's higher than Denver. Huge amount of ice. So the Antarctic is the polar example. Instead of tidewater cliffs, it has floating tongues and extensive ice shelves, largest being the Ross Ice Shelf, which is greater than the size of Texas, floating on the ocean. And it's got more distinctive types of sediment with more wedges of till at the grounding line. This is from a borehole that we drilled right at the grounding line of the Ross ice shelf, taken 600 miles inland from the edge of the ice shelf. And this is the bottom of the Ross, this is the bottom of the ice shelf here, floating in the Ross Sea underneath. And you can see the stuff raining out from the bottom of the ice as it's getting melted. And this is the till-like material that is actually in the bottom of the ice, producing this sort of stuff here, much different than in Glacier Bay. And then there is, in the water column right by the grounding line, there are all of these amphipods swimming in the ocean, and several species of fish. This is an ice fish here with a transparent body, so you can see its brain and its heart. And in other places, this is a short tongue, but this is the ice ending on bedrock here, and you can see scallops right at the grounding line. And then there's, just within a half a mile or so, there are these meter to meter high sponges growing on the seafloor. So, showing those contrasts helps us interpret the sedimentary record if we drill a hole going back through time. So this has been the longest geological record that has been recovered from the Antarctic, going down to 1,200 meters or so. And we got a huge variety of very colorful, beautiful sediments, if you like sediments. But they tell us a story because this is the record. I'm not going to talk about that much, but basically it shows that the Antarctic ice sheet has been through a history that is influenced by warming and cooling of the Earth over the last 3 million years, and it responded very fast to climate changes, where at some stages during the warmer periods of time, it was much more like Glacier Bay. And so that's what we're concerned about in the future, of course. So just an aside, we also managed to become the first group to get into a subglacial lake. There's hundreds of lakes underneath the Antarctic ice sheet, and we drilled a hole from the surface down about half a mile or so into a subglacial lake, and this is it right in here. And the microbiologists that we were working with found microorganisms living happily, totally isolated from the rest of the world, in a lake underneath the ice sheet. So this was a pilot study to try and understand what we could potentially gather information about in terms of extraterrestrial life as well. So, Glacier Bay was the big start for me, and with Greg's initial help, he enabled me to explore a range of icy realms and document some environments that no humans had ever seen before. So along the way, I often wondered what Greg would be thinking about what we got. Thank you.